my list of careers that are most rewarding, I believe being an electrician is somewhere there on the top. And I know most of you are electricians. Some are hoping to be electricians, some are working towards being electricians. And if you've ever wanted to work as a fully qualified electrician in the UK or move to the UK to work as a fully qualified electrician, then this video is for you, because I am going to take you on a step-by-step guide on how you can work in the UK as a qualified electrician with overseas qualifications. So stay tuned, and if you're new here, I am Tino and welcome to my channel. I've put in timestamps throughout this whole video, and if there are certain things that you would rather listen to and listen to the whole video, though I would appreciate you listening to the whole video, but I've put in timestamps, so if you just want to skip along, then be sure to skip along and you don't waste time. Now, if you are going to work for an employer or choose to be self-employed, you need what is called an ECS Gold Card. So now, what is an ECS Gold Card? An ECS Gold Card is a certification that you're given similar to, well, I'll speak in my experience from Zimbabwe, what is called a genuine card that you get from the industry of the training department. So that is the same thing here, but an ECS Gold Card is issued by the Electrotechnical Certification Scheme here in the UK, and that is a certification that proves that you are a qualified electrician and you can work on people's houses, you can work in commercial buildings, you can do inspections and maintenance and all those things that need you to sign on and sign off as an electrician. Now, there's so many benefits to having an ECS Gold Card if you plan on working as an electrician in the UK. For example, you can access construction sites, you can build a reputation for yourself as a competent electrician, thereby starting your own company. You can also access jobs that require this particular certification. So I believe having an ECS Gold Card is like the key to unlocking your career as an electrician in the UK. Now let's get to the step-by-step of how to actually apply and acquire this ECS Gold Card. So the first step in acquiring an ECS Gold Card is to have your qualifications evaluated. So we've agreed that you obviously attained your qualifications overseas, be it Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Swaziland, wherever you attained your qualifications that is not in the UK. So you need to have your qualifications accredited, that is evaluated by ECTIS or UK ENIC, right? And this is so you get what they call a statement of comparability. What the statement of comparability states or says is whether you meet the criteria or the level of qualifications that they need against UK standards. So if you did your electrical course in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, in Nigeria, in, I don't know, Botswana, wherever you did it, you need to submit your documents to ECTIS. The website is right there. And you go there, you make an application. There's a fee that you pay for this whole evaluation process, but trust me, it is worth it. The next thing that you're going to need are UK specific qualifications or requirements. So UK specific qualifications are vast. You might need all of them, you might not need all of them, but that all boils down to what your statement of comparability would have said. So I will just give you the whole list, but this might be different from person to person. You might not need to write all of these tests, you might need to write them all. Now, the first thing that you're going to need is an NVQ Level 3. You also need a BS 7671, which is like the 18th edition, wiring rigs. You also need an AM2 course. So how do we go about explaining all these three things and how do we attain them? I know that's the question, so let's get into it. First up, let's talk about the NVQ Level 3 in electrotechnical services. So every electrician will need to have this course. It's like a core course. For example, if you're from Zimbabwe, obviously for you to be an electrician, you need at least a national certificate, right? So this is similar to it. Please note, I am not saying your NC from Zimbabwe compares to the NVQ Level 3. I'm just giving an example of how the NVQ Level 3 is important to you being an electrician in the UK. So don't quote me on that. Now, the NVQ Level 3 in electrotechnical services covers a lot of things, from installations, maintenance, literally everything that it takes for a person to be an electrician. Now, if you've got substantial experience as an electrician, you might have to go through an accelerated course or an accelerated route where you might not need to sit down and write an NVQ Level 3 exam. But like I said, that can only be determined after you have your statement of comparability and you see where you go from there. The next thing that you're going to need is to sit and write a BS 7671 wiring regulations test. Currently it's the 18th edition, so that's what you will need to prove. Now, even if you're a qualified electrician who's worked overseas for thousands and thousands of years, chances are high you might need to still do this because UK wiring regulations are quite specific. So this test really is all about seeing how much you know about the UK wiring systems and how you know the electrical systems, mostly in terms of wiring, because as an electrician, that's the most of the work that you're going to be doing. So this 18th edition wiring regulations test will then test all that knowledge that you have and see how or where you stand according to UK qualifications. And you need to ace this test, because what is an electrician if you can't do any wiring, honestly? So you will need to do this even if you've been working for a long time as an electrician. You know all the red, yellow, blue, all the neutral, live and earthing and all that gist, but you still need to know all these wiring regulations according to UK standards. Now, the third thing that you're going to need is an AM2 assessment. Now, an AM2 assessment is a practical, hands-on assessment that is to showcase your skills as an electrician. So with regards to how it compares, I would liken it to a trade test. So it's like a trade test. So there's a lot that you can be asked, but mostly wiring, motors and things like that, but it's a practical test. And it's another thing that is paid for as well. When you have all these three things, the last thing that you will need is an ECS, Health, Safety and Environmental Assessment. Now, this assessment tests your consciousness to preserving the environment on construction sites, as well as safe working practices. So it's really not to hammer you down, but it's just to ensure that you're a safe operator and you are also conscious of your impact on the environment. Now that you have all these certificates, your statement of comparability, your NVQ Level 3, your ECS Health, Safety and Environment, and the BS 7671 wiring regs, as well as your AM2. Now, the last step for you is to go and apply for your ECS Gold Card. I know, it's exciting. So now you go on the website, the ECS website, and then you go ahead and apply for your gold card. What you need to do is just to create an account. After you create an account, you upload your statement of comparability, your AM2 results, your certificates, your ECS health and safety, literally everything. And then it'll take a couple of weeks for them to determine whether or not you qualify for the gold card. But trust me, you already qualify if you have everything that I've just listed. And then they will give you your ECS gold card, which will be valid for 5 years. Congratulations. Now you can work in the UK as a qualified electrician. Correction, before we go on to the experienced worker assessment, I had said 5 years, it's 3 years. Your gold card is valid for 3 years. So yeah, that's that. Anyways, now, like I said, if you've had substantial experience working as an electrician overseas and you're confident in your skills, you're also confident in your knowledge of UK standards and all their wiring regulations, etc., you might be eligible to go through what they call an experienced worker assessment. This is a faster route where you don't have to go through the whole process of going the NVQ, the ESS, the health and safety and the AM2. So they will just put you through a few tests and then see where you stand. And if you qualify, then they'll just give you the gold card without going through the whole long process. So that is just for people who have substantial experience working as electricians in the past overseas. Now, if you've reached this part and this far, thank you so much for watching. And I am sure by now you know what you need to do for you to be able to get your ECS Gold Card and start working in the UK as a qualified electrician.